The nation's capital was a war zone. Gangs ruled the streets. Metro riders lived in fear. Innocent kids caught in crossfire became just another statistic. Local politicians cooked the books, downgrading felonies to make their failure disappear. Then President Trump did what weak leaders could not. He sent in the cavalry. Now those same streets that terrified families are quiet. Criminals who thought they owned D.C. are learning something new. The numbers don't lie, but the establishment sure tried to. What's happening now in Washington right now has residents shocked, reporters scrambling, and politicians sweating. The transformation is so dramatic, even hardened locals cannot believe their eyes. So don't turn away. Now, before we jump into today's news, here is a quick word from our sponsor, Hyperbit Technologies, trading under HYPAF on the U.S. market. As President Trump puts the spotlight on crypto and pushes forward policies to keep America ahead in the digital asset race, Hyperbit is charging ahead with next-generation crypto mining technology, expanding on their multi-million crypto treasury that already includes Bitcoin and Ethereum, and aiming to position itself to benefit from pro-innovation laws and executive orders. This is a complete, diversified company that gives you one-stop exposure to the entire crypto sector without having to pick and choose individual projects. Honestly, I could talk about Hyperbit all day, but Trump's bold pro-crypto stance basically says it all. So for everything that you need to know, check out the link in the description below, hyperbit.ca. We thank them for sponsoring this show. Now, we got some breaking news out of Washington, D.C. Nick Sortor reporting that the D.C. Police Union chairman just confirmed that higher-ups will come to the scene of violent crimes and order them to be written up as a lesser offense. He said it's a crime to manipulate the data and called for the DOJ to prosecute those involved. This is just a few hours ago. This is the D.C. Police Union chairman.
So can you confirm for us that there have been police officers and detectives and members of law enforcement in D.C. who on the scene of crimes have been told, yeah, don't write that one down, or don't add that to the list, or put that down as a more minor offense?
Absolutely. That's one of the chief complaints of our members when we go around and talk to them, is that they respond to the scenes of these violent crimes. And inevitably, you'll have a captain or a commander or sometimes a lieutenant show up on the scene and advise them to take a report for a lesser offense. One of the things that we see them do often is sometimes there'll be a shooting or a stabbing, and if the victim is uncooperative with the police, which is not uncommon in some areas of the city, they'll be directed to take an injured person to the hospital report, which is not even a crime at all. It's an incident report. Sometimes you'll have a robbery. It'll be reported as a theft. Other times you'll have burglaries that are reported as unlawful entry or thefts. This is something that's been, unfortunately, part and parcel of the police department for some time, and we're very skeptical that these crime stats are accurate.
That's extraordinary. What is the motivation? Why are these commanders or higher-ups arriving on the scene during apprehensions and telling police officers to indicate something other than what actually happened at the scene?
Well, the only explanation could be to keep the crime stats down, because politically that's expedient for the police department and elected officials in the district. I mean, let's go back to how we got here, which is that in 2020, the D.C. City Council passed the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Act, which was a sweeping piece of legislation designed to hamstring police officers, to reduce the size, scope, and responsibilities of police officers. In addition, it also prevented us from holding criminals accountable even when they're convicted of crimes. And so now here we are 5 years later, the police department with an authorized strength of 4,000 sworn members. We only have 3,180, leaving us with over 800 vacancies for the position of police officer. In order to make up for that gap, the police department uses 2 million hours of mandatory overtime to cover the demand for police officers. And so because of that, crime has skyrocketed in the district. And one of the things...
And we have this now. Chicago One Ray writes that Ohio, Missouri, West Virginia, and South Carolina sending up to 100 of their National Guard to help in the effort to rid Washington, D.C. of its crime problem. Over 380 arrests have been made. 58 firearm scenes, since Trump federalized D.C. Listen to this.
Their National Guard nation's capital, and now Attorney General Pam Bondi is getting additional resources in her effort to try to bring peace to Washington streets. Here's correspondent David Spunt.
A larger military presence on the streets of the nation's capital as the governors of Ohio, West Virginia, Mississippi, and South Carolina prepare to send hundreds of their National Guard troops to patrol D.C.
I feel it needs to be done. Something needs to be done.
Tamara Jackham's son, Eric Tarpinian Jackham, was a 21-year-old college student, an innocent bystander fatally gunned down in a random act of violence on June 30th. Authorities are offering a $40,000 reward for his killer or killers who remain at large. His mother tells Fox Digital things need to change in Washington.
Everybody is a potential victim, in my opinion, in D.C., and it doesn't matter where you're from.
Some Democrats disagree with the White House approach.
All of this is a total abuse of power. It's a manufactured emergency.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser posting on social media, American soldiers and airmen policing American citizens on American soil is un-American. Trump administration officials are touting more than 380 arrests since federal operations began less than 2 weeks ago. They also say 59 illegal firearms have been seized.
We have been working hand in hand with our great men and women in the Metro Police Department, the Transit Authority. We've brought in the Park Police, the National Guard, all of the agencies that fall under me.
Mayors of other large cities are paying close attention to what's happening in D.C.
We do need assistance on the federal level to deal with the flow of illegal guns into our streets. We know how to
Nation's capital, and now Attorney
New York Mayor Eric Adams, he's watching closely, saying, yeah, we need some help in New York. You see, Eric Adams, though, I think he's seen the light, especially after that massive influx of illegals that came to his city by way of Texas because of Governor Abbott and the crime that followed it. Now, of course, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he's still hiding in his house, having anxiety attacks. Salty Cracker posting this 5 hours ago. I'm sure the people that steal elections would never manipulate crime data. Gunter Eagleman, he was quote tweeting, about time the DOJ and Judge Jeanine have launched an investigation into Washington, D.C. crime data manipulation.
Welcome back. Breaking news. Fox News has confirmed the Justice Department is now investigating whether crime data in Washington, D.C. was manipulated to make it look lower. David Spunt at the DOJ this afternoon. David, what can you tell us about the investigation?
Well, hi, Jillian. Two sources briefed on the probe tell us that, yes, the Justice Department is investigating whether or not someone or multiple people may have manipulated crime data when it comes to Washington, D.C. crime statistics. This investigation is being run out of U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's office here in D.C. Also, Maine DOJ, where I'm sitting now and speaking to you, also has a hand in this probe. Again, these are just allegations. President Trump mentioned something about it yesterday on Truth Social and said that there is an investigation underway. Then we were able to confirm that as well from two independent sources. I will note, if you go on the D.C. website, Jillian, it says violent crime is down 26% from what it was last year. But we asked, after seeing a report from a local affiliate here in Washington, D.C., that a police sergeant was put on leave. We asked, MPD said that they could not confirm the existence of an investigation, but not many other details other than to say right now there is a DOJ investigation into the possibility that some of that crime data was manipulated to make things look actually safer.
Of course it was manipulated. I mean, how else can they go ahead and cover their crime and cover their ass because their policies suck? Here is a D.C. resident reacting just a few hours ago to the National Guard troops keeping travelers safe on the metro.
Our troops I feel safer. I do. It doesn't bother me at all. I just feel more military police presence there are. I just feel like I'm more inclined to be downtown more often than I usually am, especially in the evenings.
And if you take Metro bus, be aware you may see National Guard troops at the bus stops as well.
Oh, man, if I saw them, I would just be like, thank you, guys. Here's the press secretary earlier today in the briefing room talking about Trump's remarkable success in cleaning up D.C. crime.
There were President Trump's efforts to make D.C. safe again are working. There have been a total of 465 arrests since the start of this operation on Thursday, August 7th. Last night, there were a total of 52 arrests, including the arrest of an illegal alien MS-13 gang member with convictions for DWI and drug possession. Thanks to President Trump's leadership and the outstanding work of both federal and local law enforcement, dangerous gang members like the one picked up last night will not be allowed on the streets of our nation's capital. Other arrests last night included assault with a deadly weapon for stabbing, parole violation for robbery, murder, outstanding warrant for attempted murder, assault on federal law enforcement officer, and felony assault. 4 more homeless encampments were also removed during yesterday's reporting period. To date, a total of 48 homeless encampments have been cleared in Washington, D.C. by multi-agency teams. MPD patrol units are actively working with city officials to locate and clear additional encampments and remove homeless residents off of Washington's streets. And despite fake narratives from the media, again, a significant number of the arrests have been in high crime areas of D.C. In fact, nearly half of all of the non-illegal alien-related arrests have occurred in wards 7 and 8, the 2 wards that have the highest number of violent crime, as well as homicides and assaults with dangerous weapons last year. So while Democrats continue to coddle violent criminals, President Trump and this administration are focused on putting them behind bars and unapologetically standing up for the safety of law-abiding American citizens. And the White House will continue to provide all of you with the results of this operation in the days ahead. President Trump's efforts to make D.C. safe again are working.
They are working. And we have this. Let's go. Oh, Stephen Miller. Let's go to Stephen Miller. Oh, we got lots of Stephen Miller today. I love Stephen Miller. The sigh of relief that I've seen from the local communities in the city, says Stephen.
Ringing out at night, and the sigh of relief that I have seen from the local communities in this city. You see people going online saying, for the first time that I can remember, I don't hear gunshots ringing out at night anymore. I just saw a video posted by a gentleman who walked from his neighborhood in the southeast all the way to the White House, and he said in the whole way through, he saw no gang members, no violence, no homeless camps, no public drug use. He said it was like living in a different city. President Trump is making D.C. safe, livable, clean, and secure, not just for the people who live here, but for every American citizen whose birthright is to visit our nation's capital. The sigh of...
Oh, my goodness, man. That's just beautiful. That's music to my ears.
President Trump, the numbers are breathtaking.
Here's more from Stephen Miller.
Since President Trump asserted federal control over our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., we have seen a record number of violent offenders, bad guys, gang members, and all kinds of threats to public safety removed off the street, as well as their illegal weapons that they've been using to terrorize the citizens of this city. Additionally, we have seen over 70 homeless encampments that have scarred and disfigured the public streets of this city, dismantled and thrown away, and the homeless cleared from those encampments. At the same time, we have the National Park Service going around and getting rid of the gang graffiti that has been left untouched by this city for decades. Since I've lived here, I moved to Washington, D.C. 20 years ago. And I've seen graffiti in some of our landmarks that has gone unremoved for decades, that is now being cleared away. You have gang members that are being taken off the streets. You have druggies that are being taken off the streets. You have our parks being made safe again, our transit being made safe again. The numbers are breathtaking. Since President...
Breathtaking, man. Trump is just doing everything, doing it right. Here's some protests. We're just getting in here. Protests continue. Elected official attempts to stop National Guard as they depart from Union Station. How stupid.
Hey, sir. The road over there? Hey, watch out.
I mean, this person is so stupid. You don't mess with the National Guard. You're gonna get the horns, okay, buddy? Yeah, you're going to get the horns, kid. Nice try. Here is Anacostia, southeast D.C., across the river from Capitol Hill in Ward 8. D.C. has seen an increase in National Guard and federal assets, and we asked the local manager at the D.C. City Smokehouse what his views on the increase in federal patrols are.
Be quiet.
The presence there.
But they hopping out, you know what I'm saying? They are making their presence felt because you can tell because the streets are, they quiet. You know, a lot of people don't want that smoke. City Smokehouse, 2010. Yeah, we've been around for a minute.
And do you live in the area as well?
I do. I live in Southwest. If they doing the right thing and they doing right by the people, I ain't got no problem with it. Right. As soon as they be on something else, don't think I'm with it, because I'm not. I'm all about order. You know what I'm saying? We all need order out here, just so we can get along and have some type of peace. It's good because it'd be good the kids to come outside and start playing in the neighborhoods and stuff like that. Man, if you're doing your job to that degree and you letting the neighborhood open back up like it used to be, it's fine. But if they got other intentions, then it's no good. You gotta take the streets away from the youngsters. You hear me? They run to the streets. Anytime they get an opportunity or something like that, they run to the streets because the streets make them feel like it's easy. You feel me? They take the hard work out of it now. Everybody want easy money. It ain't about easy money. You get a fast-paced situation, and then you got a fast ending. Nah, the hard work is where it comes from.
Right, you think about today, not necessarily tomorrow. You know, the immediate situation there. I saw the building down here on my right, your left, has bullet holes above the doorway, and the window got shot out. Just as an outsider, that feels dangerous. Do you feel like it's dangerous down here?
Yeah, you always like that. The youngsters out here, they wilding because they do the wildest things. You know what I'm saying? They got their ski mask on. Like if you a mayor, I'd be like, if I see you with your ski mask on, you spending the whole week in jail. You know what I'm saying? You scaring old folks out here. What are you doing? Like for real. You're not supposed to be scaring the old folks. That's the last thing. Even little kids, they know what that means. Take the mask off. You know what I'm saying? They got to do something about the masks. That's just making them vulnerable.
Totally fair.
Wow. D.C. is getting cleaned up. Here we have this residents in D.C.'s high-crime neighborhoods backing the federal takeover of police. Washington Times reporting. Here's a flashback. D.C. Metropolitan Police Sergeant turned whistleblower claimed department officials were distorting crime statistics, including downgrading felonies to misdemeanors.
Has been suspended. Crime. But according to a sergeant turned whistleblower, the numbers weren't always to be trusted. In this lawsuit from 2020, Sergeant Charlotte Josu claimed that MPD routinely misclassified crimes and that districts compete against each other to get the largest reduction in the crime statistics, possibly paving the way to promotions and raises. She claimed.
Unbelievable. Cook in the books. Let's take a look here. Tony Saruga. GPS, there were 318 mobile devices present, including law enforcement and media. 92% of it present at 5 or more past D.C. protests. 67 appear to be likely federal government employees with their mobile devices accessing both keycard required garages and federal buildings. Quote tweeting Olia Scootercaster, hundreds of anti-Trump protesters outside the White House in Washington, D.C., chanting Trump must go. And the point here is that they're pointing out that these mobile devices present included law enforcement and media. Unbelievable.
Trump must go now!
Yeah, Trump's going nowhere. But D.C. is getting cleaned up. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what happens when you put America first instead of criminals first. For years, D.C. residents begged for help while their kids dodged bullets. The local government's response, lie about crime stats and let MS-13 run wild. Well, Trump's response, 465 arrests and counting. That's not just numbers. That's mothers who can walk to the store again, kids who can play outside, workers who can ride the metro without fear. Judge Jeanine Pirro, she left her cushy TV job to lead this charge because some fights matter more than paychecks. And she revealed a horrifying truth. 45 teens killed by gunfire since 2024. All minorities, 70% unsolved until now. And this is what draining the swamp actually looks like. So here's the question. Should Trump's federal takeover of D.C. be permanent? Yes or no? Let me know your thoughts down below. And you can support real journalism by grabbing some Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. You'll find it linked down below.